Hello, 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 and welcome to the Cup TV, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality, and we can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm your girl, Lana, your resident evil diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I loves me some tea purr. And guess what, folks? I'm drinking water. Still the
The
same
same bottle.
water. The same water. But it's almost done. Almost. We'll see if I finish this water in this episode. But I also have my cup mug. And we have a panel full of cup mugs. Panel full of cup mugs. Beep, 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 boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's my Survivor Australian edition because, it's dramatic. But you can get your cup mug or any of our beautiful cup merch at LanaGCreations.etsy.com. That link will be in the description below. And we do ship internationally and domestically, so there are no excuses. Even if your postal service is running a little bit slow, it's okay because a delay is never a deny. You'll get it. It just might take a little time. So get your cup merch. Period. That would be you,
Oh my
Jack.
god. Can you tell that my brain isn't working? Hi, my name is Jack. I am the resident game designer of the panel, and I'm here today to pass on a scroll very, very secretly. Bomb squad, bomb squad, bomb squad, bomb squad, bomb squad, bomb squad.
Here's the scroll.
And I just have some tea. I just have some tea.
Good.
Ooh, are you gonna spill it?
Oh.
No, because I like my carpeting.
Well, I'm David Healy, and I'm so sad I didn't get to talk about this last episode because it was wild, but I will make my thoughts known soon enough. But I am just drinking some water, and it might be a race, Lana.
Oh,
Who can finish their little Walmart water first?
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But
Mhm.
I think they might beat me because for some reason I just only take a sip and be done. Because I
Yep.
talk too much. I talk too much, and I never have. I don't stop in between to actually take real sips of water. So this time I'm gonna do it while David talks about his thoughts about yesterday's episode. Period. But we are going to talk about Survivor Australia episode 6. But before we do, y'all know what time it is. We got to get the business part out of the way. Hit the subscribe button here on this channel because we are on a mission, folks. And y'all have been answering the call. I appreciate you. I appreciate the numbers. But we need more. We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We are trying to unlock some things that only hitting 1,000 subscribers will let us do. And they're so fun and we really want to do it. So please, 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 if this is your first time watching, first of all, hello, welcome. Hit the subscribe button. If you are a fan of any competition reality show, we cover most of them. So check us out here on this channel. Follow us, do all the things. We also have 3 other channels that you can subscribe to if you're a fan of drag or drag race, if you're a fan of Eurovision Song Contest, you're a fan of cats because they're talkative. If you're a fan of WWE Wrestling, Elimination Chambers coming up this weekend, so you want to check that out. All those channels are in the description below. Click on the links, follow, subscribe, do all the things. And if you want to check us out on the go, if you just need to check us out while you're going to work or going to the on the bus, on the train, or whatever, we got an audio podcast link where you can click down there below and check us out on the go. And our Patreon is up and running, and we got a lot of great things coming your way. And we need you to subscribe so we can show you us who we are when we're not talking about Survivor or Big Brother or Amazing Race or Drag Race or Eurovision. All those things. You can know who we are when we're not talking about those things. So check us out on our Patreon and do all those things. So yeah, let's get into it. Episode 6 happened, but before episode 6 happened, episode 5 happened. And me and Jack, we gave our very thorough thoughts about that. But David couldn't be here. So, and apparently his thoughts are, he got some real things he need to let go. It was bottled up inside, and now he has to let it out. So we're gonna give him a time. Let it out,
Okay.
David.
Yeah, I have a lot to say because I have watched every season of US Survivor, every season of Australian Survivor, most of them multiple times. Like I'm talking like 4, 5, 10 plus times. I've seen a lot of seasons, plus a handful of other countries. But I don't think I've ever seen anybody just tank their game so hard in a single episode like I did in episode 5. I think maybe before this was Drew from San Juan del Sur. He had a really epically bad episode that ended with him being voted out after throwing a challenge. But I think Allie has now surpassed that because let me count the ways that she fumbled the bag in the last episode. She hit it so hard. First when she goes to comfort Max and ends up making him feel even smaller and more insulted than he was already feeling. Then she goes to the other tribe and proceeds to tell them every single detail from their tribe without anything in return. She's like, here is the tribe dynamics on a platter, and yes, all of the women on the tribe, including myself, were working together, just so you know. Then she comes back and she decides to tell all of the women on her tribe that, hey, guess what? I outed our alliance to the other tribe. I told them who's working together, who's not working together, so they know everything that's going on, guys. Then she volunteers to do the fire making in the immunity challenge and makes zero progress throughout the entire thing. She completely butchers that challenge, even though they had a strong lead. Then they come back and she proceeds to tell AJ, that either him or Rich are going. It doesn't matter. One of you's going now, one of you's going next. And don't say cool. Do not you dare say cool, because it's not cool. I want you to be sad. So yes, 5 major blunders, and she's super lucky that there was a twist, because I do think in my heart that we were going to lose Allie in that episode. And she should be thankful, because that would have been the icing on the cake, and it would have solidified that she had the single worst episode of any Survivor ever across all of the countries, all of the franchises. But we'll see how long she escaped death.
I mean, if you want to be honest, I think you even missed one because she started out the episode. Who did this with the fire? Who did this with the rations? Who did this with, like, getting on everybody's nerve? She turned and she took the job as the fire warden way too seriously. Like, I would have been like, okay, it's time for this one to go. Like, who is she? Whose mother is she? Not mine. And she's just like, you can't touch anything. You can't be the rations. You, because y'all don't know what y'all doing. It's like, single-handedly just made your whole tribe look at you sideways. It was just crazy.
And she had so much agency going into that episode too. Like, it would be one thing if she was already in a really bad position.
Yes.
But I think she was in one of the best positions.
She was fine. She was very much in the middle, not the one everybody wanted to go. Nobody was even looking at her. So she was in a very good spot, but she just was like, safe? Not me.
Even within the coven.
Allie, like, look at me. What'd you say, Jack? I'm sorry.
Even within the coven, like, she was on Zara and Corinne's side, who, like, very much have more agency than Logan and Laura, who are already kind of being...
She was on their side, discarded. Too.
And then just complete plummet.
It was just like, at one point, like, even when the girls wanted to, well, we'll talk about it, girls and how they want to, are not agreeing. They were all agreeing that we want to keep Allie at one point. It was like, Allie's cool, it's the other ones. And it's always the other ones. It was never Allie. But she just completely was like, I don't like nobody's saying my name. So I want everybody to say my name from this point on. So
They did.
I'm going to do
Oh,
everything
they did,
I can to make sure you say my name. Say my name. She was
Say my name. Say my name.
I was say she was Destiny Child up at that piece. She was saying my name, honey. I was like, ooh, okay. But
and apparently she was Latoya and Latavia, because
baby, because she could not stay. She could not stay in the group, honey. she had to
oh my God.
She had to. She was Farrah, Latavia, and Latavia. Baby.
She was Farrah. Farrah didn't even get to sing on any recordings.
She had to go, baby. But anyway, so we come back and they go to the Brawn tribe first, and
here's where I'll agree with you. Why didn't we start at the night? If any time there was a time to start at night, it was this time.
I've been saying that since, like, why are we starting at the next day? Do we not talk? Are they not allowed to speak at the night? But obviously they can, because we see in the previews coming up that we get night stuff today. Why? I'm not understanding. This was the time we should have got what happened when everybody got back to camp. But got none of that. We started, and then we don't even start at the Brains camp. We started at the Brawn's camp. And it's all, hey, Rich is here. Let's talk to Rich. Rich is riching, and Rich is riching. Rich is over there just being rich. And he's like, I'm loud. I'm here. I'm having a good time. Y'all, this camp is great. Life is great over here. Them brains don't know what they doing over there. We got it good over here, Bronze, because I'm one of you. And they're not convinced that Rich is actually there to stay. They think Rich is there as a spy. And Luna is having a good time talking to Rich. She's like, I like him. He's a shiny new toy.
I thought she was saying the opposite.
No, wait. She said, he's a shiny new toy that we all like to play with. But I don't trust him. Like, he still got to go.
I thought she was saying he feels like he is the shiny new toy that we all want to play with. But I don't feel that way.
I'm not saying nobody feels that way. But I think they're just placating him for the moment. And they're like, yeah, Rich is... He's gonna leave in the next couple of days, and he's gonna try to get information. We can't give Rich information. We can't. And if he doesn't leave, we just vote him on out. It is what it is. And I'm like, okay. I mean, sure, because I would think that too. I wouldn't think that person is there to stay.
I think it's happened the past 2 seasons. It definitely happened in Heroes versus Villains.
Where they stayed,
where Jerry went back to his camp.
Yeah.
And I think it happened last season, but I can't remember who.
I think it did.
Last season, I think they definitely stayed for one challenge and then immediately, I think they left after the challenge ended. The person who was voted out, the stipulation was they stayed with the winning tribe. So they were in a weird limbo state. Okay. If I remember that right. I could be very wrong.
I do remember last season and the season before that they definitely did that whole, you come over for a challenge and then you go back. But this one is different. It's no going back. He's staying there. And JLP told him that. But he never made it clear to the...
his tribe.
Yeah,
he told the whole Brains tribe, but he won't tell the Brawn tribe.
The Brawn tribe has no idea. And I wonder if they did that on purpose, if they're just not going to tell them and let them be paranoid, like, is he leaving? Is he leaving? But I think after this episode, I think they'll realize, oh, he's not leaving. He's actually staying. Who knows?
But it also doesn't matter for other reasons.
For other reasons, yeah, it doesn't really matter. But, so... they're like, if he stays, if he goes, is whatever. If he stays, we just vote him out. Like, they don't trust him. They don't really.
And we'll sit him out of the immunity challenge, just in case.
Just in case he tries to throw things. And I'm like, makes sense.
Fair.
It makes sense. And they just welcomed him in, let him, run around camp. It was great. Go to the Brains tribe. And they're like, it feels different without Rich here.
It's calm.
It's quiet. I was like, oh, y'all feeling how they felt when Nash left on the other side. It's like, oh, it's actually pretty nice around here without Rich. He's not loud and getting on everybody's nerves. But it was calm. It was cool. It was everything. But we did see Corinne and Zara go talk. and they're like, "Are we doing this?" And Corinne's like, "Yeah, I think we're doing this. I think it's time to the coven. Like it's time to
So
because
It's
it's
time to
over.
go.
It's over." It's this day they were like it's time to go. The Cheetah Girls is over. We're done. Because it's like they felt how they didn't like how Laura and Logan was shutting down the whole Rich idea for them 3 votes in a row. And they're like, we just can't work with people like that. We're done. It's over. Go to Laura and Logan juxtaposition, and they're like, are we doing it? They were like,
Yeah.
I think it's time to cut it off with the coven. The coven is no more. I'm laughing now at this point. I'm just like, not both of them thinking the same thing at the same time, at the same moment. And it's like, oh, that's funny. But they were like, it's time. I don't like, Logan's like, I don't want to work with Zara. And Logan was like, I don't want to work with Zara. And Laura was like, neither do I. I don't like how she did that. She didn't respect our wishes. I'm like, okay.
Only Zara?
Wait, no, because here's my thing. I'm looking at Laura and Logan like, you got your way 2 votes in a row. And now you mad because they put their foot down on 1 vote and was like, it gotta be Rich. And Laura said it. She said it herself. She was like, I need people who is going to listen to what I have to say and do what I need them to do for my game. So she was mad that they didn't want to go along to help her game because Rich Stang does nothing for Zara and Karen. It does everything for Logan and Laura. So she was like, I just need somebody who will work with me and who's going to work and do the things that's going to help my game. And she didn't like that Zara was 10 toes down and like, no, we followed your way twice. We doing this time. And it didn't even matter in the end because whatever.
I think what this shows is that there were other dynamics and relationships that we were not privy to because clearly the girls do have connections with the guys, or else it wouldn't have split so perfectly down the middle in this tribe. Because while we see each of these women pair off and decide we want to do our own thing, they also have 2 other guys in mind that they want to work with. You have Zara and Karen. They want to work at AJ and Miles, while Laura and Logan are like, we should work with Kaylin and Max. So clearly that really was a big factor. And if you do have these women with subset alliances with the men, and then eventually it's like, okay, Kent's gone.
Right.
Now, whose person are we going to get rid of? It makes a lot more sense, like knowing that. And I wish we had seen little sprinkles of that to make it make a little more sense. We got that with Rich and Laura. We knew that they were close, and Logan kind of, even though she really didn't like him. But I wish they had given us the full picture just so it would make a little more sense.
But, I mean, we also do have kind of the elephant in the room with Allie now not in either of the 4-person groups that have formed, and she's just there.
She's a swing vote.
She's a swing vote who kind of leans more towards Zara and Karen, but
I couldn't even really tell. I'll be honest.
I mean, it seemed like in almost every argument that happened, Allie kind of leaned against
with Rich there
Logan
at
and
least.
Laura. With Rich there at least. Without Rich there, I mean, we do have these perfect like duo, and Allie seemingly just kind of not even lost her duo because she's not as close to Rich as other people. She just now everyone else has a duo.
I'm just a little surprised they were also willing to hit the reset button. Like, if I had somebody come and pitch me from the opposite gender, and they're like, "Hey, let's do this thing," would I trust that so quickly? But it just really seemed like all the guys and all the girls were just willing to cast their lots in and be like, "Yeah, let's do this new foursome. I'll trust it completely. This definitely isn't a plan to blindside me," because that's what I would be thinking. I would be thinking, "Oh, they're trying to." I know what they're trying to do. No, bomb squad it is. No, Coven it is. Coven it is.
I think both groups, more so the bomb squad, never really solidified anything and got themselves off the ground. They never really came up with like a strong plan to make each other feel comfortable that this is going to be a thing. And I think, like you said, the subgroups that were forming, we didn't get to see it, but apparently it was strong enough for Miles and AJ to go, okay, I do like them. Even if we weren't working together this whole time, I do like them. And I feel like they were building a connection. Same thing with Kaylin and Max with Laura and Logan. They built something. Well, Kaylin, okay, we're going to talk about Kaylin, but I just feel like they all built something. Max more than Kaylin. Kaylin has been playing this very much smack dab in the middle.
He's playing the game Allie thought she was playing.
in a much better way. Like in a much better way, because Allie played it where people don't want to work with her. AJ played it where people absolutely wanted to work with him. Kaylin absolutely wanted to work with him, which I loved because I like Kaylin a lot. And so I think the way Kaylin is playing it, I think the way Kaylin is playing it is perfect. And he was very much the swing vote, the back and forth. Everybody think they got Kaylin in their pocket. Everybody is like, oh, Kaylin's on my side. Kaylin's, because he's just like, yes, to everybody and to everything. He's like, yeah.
Without telling any extra information to
nothing.
He doesn't need to do anything.
He doesn't have to say much, don't have to do much. He's just like, yeah. And this is all before even challenges are happening or anything. People are talking to him and he's like, oh yeah, sure. Okay, yeah. And he's been doing that the entire game. And he's like, my job is to go out and fish, go collect bamboo, go collect some of these palm fronds, go get some sticks, and be a light around camp. And then when people come to me with what we doing, okay, all right. And I'm like, absolutely. You stay so in the middle that everybody wants you. And nobody is like, we need to go out to Kaylin. He's doing too much. No, because he's chilling. But you know who everybody want to go after? The person who want to be a fire warden. And the one who everybody want to tell folks what they can and cannot eat. How many beans they can put on their plate. How many coconuts they can eat. How much rice they can eat. Like, nobody wants mom. Nobody wants mom. But the cool uncle, period. We take the cool uncle.
Don't say cool. Don't say cool.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. Like, no, but yeah, it's wild seeing how people are playing this game, and all the different facets of just wrongness and rightness that are going on. This is
Brain's tribe. I mean, honestly, one of the most interesting tribes I've ever seen.
I've never seen nothing like this. It's definitely fascinating me. But
we do go to the immunity challenge.
Reward challenge.
A reward challenge. And I'm so, like, I missed it. Where did Max get this hat from?
I think that's Allie's hat.
It's Allie's.
That's Allie's hat.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Allie's hat. It's in the picture. It's Allie's hat. But we have a sponsored reward challenge from IKEA. And so they get all the comforts from IKEA, pillows and blankets and all kind of stuff. It's beautiful.
Maybe some surprises too.
Maybe some
surprises.
But from what we saw first, it was just pillows and blankets and light, soft things that they could put around camp to help make everything comfortable. And everybody's like, yay! Because Brawn come in today, and Rich is talking about how great the Brawn camp is and how they're off the ground and they got this great camp and all this stuff. And the Brain's looking at him like,
okay.
Oh,
and Allie was like, look, I've gone too long without sharing information. We voted him out unanimously, guys. Just so you know.
7.
And Rich is like, I volunteered.
Like, I was like, oh my God, girl, shut up. Like, She does not know how to stop talking. I've never seen anybody in a game who just itching to just blow their own spot up. Like information needs to be shared. I have to say, we voted him out unanimously. No, I was like, girl, who needed to do that? And the Brawn tribe was like, well.
It's a good thing she didn't know about the new dynamics at this tribe, or else she'd be by the way, there's new alliances forming.
The girls are no longer together. Like
the girls are no longer together. The guys are no longer together. We figured out what cross-gender alliances are. Revolutionary concept.
And I would have pushed her in that water. She's like, shut up.
Just
girl.
right in.
Just shut up, girl. Like, she talks so much.
It's like, Karin, who are you challenging? I'm going to pick Allie.
I'm picking
Allie. She's on your tribe.
I don't care. I want her.
I don't care. At this point, we need to.
I just want to hit her with a bag right now. Just shut up. Oh, my gosh. But the Brawn like, one man's trash is another man's treasure, so we'll take it. It is what it is. Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, great. So the reward challenge itself, when once again I was like, okay, so we just gonna let Brawn win this. We just setting up the reward challenges for Brawn. Is that what we doing? Because it's a gauntlet match. It's really just you on one side, your opponent on the other. Y'all meet in the middle, y'all fight it out, and somebody falls into the water. And I was like,
Sumo at sea.
Sumo at sea.
Love sumo at sea, but especially in a season like this, interesting challenge to throw at them.
But I mean, wasn't the last one like this, or the ones we lost Zen on was something like this? I was like,
it
seriously,
was similar, yeah.
like literally, we need to relax with this. But they, I'm about to sneeze again.
Yep, they have to do pairs, and one from each tribe. So the first pair that we get is Miles, and Polly is going to be going against him. So.
Miles
looking at that, I'm like, I think Polly's got this.
Miles is like, I got you. And Polly's like, you're right. I was just like, okay.
This is going to be over in seconds.
Don't hit the money maker.
He was like, oh, yeah, this makes no money. Oh, I know. I was like,
he said, I know.
He said, oh, I know.
I was like, let's mess up
Polly. You are so shady, Polly. So shady. But, of course, Polly does win. He takes out Miles. It happens seconds. So our next duo was Noonan and Allie. And,
she's the lucky one that gets to take out Allie.
Right. And Allie is like, they were like, I don't want to do it. Because they like each other. She met Noonan likes her. And they're like,
let's just hug.
Let's just hug. And they're like, yeah, right. And Noonan just pushes her right on out the way.
It was maybe a 3-second match. It was nothing.
It was like, and Noonan was like, didn't even break a sweat. I was like, no, you didn't. You didn't. Then I went to another girls. And I was like, why do we go to another girls? Why do we go to the guys? Why do we like pull back on? But it was Ursula versus Karin. And this was not a short match. This was not a Brawn just go run over each other, run over the Brain Tribe. This was a battle. This battle went forever. This battle went over to almost 20 minutes. Over 20 minutes.
Over
20 minutes.
Yeah.
And they were going back and forth. Karin, in the midst of tussling with Ursula, they were wrestling, they were on the floor, and they were just like exhausted. In the middle, she was like, don't trust Rich. Do not trust Rich. You don't do it. And Ursula's like, okay, I got you. And then they just...
Okay, I'll go tell all of my allies that I have.
Which is none. Like, Ursula's the last person you need to tell because nobody listens to her. But she's like, I got you. I think that builds a connection for Ursula and Karin, and it might come into play sooner rather than later. We'll see. But, so that goes on for 20 minutes, and it like over 20 minutes, and it was blood was happening, they just gave it all, and to the point where they just had to call it. It was a draw because neither one was giving up. I was like, this was epic. Yeah. This was, I applaud both of them women. I was like, I applaud you women. Y'all.
It was hard to watch.
It was intense. And I was like, every moment you saw them were about to give a burst into, I was like, oh, is this it? Oh no, oh God.
No.
Oh, is this it? Oh no, oh God. It was just a good matchup, and they had to draw. So they decided to do a 2-pair, two and two, with Rich and PD against Kaylin and Max. And yeah, we went back to the status quo.
Complete destruction.
Where they just beat up the Brains, and the Brawn wins. Reward!
Yay! Again.
I love not having to change banners. But like I said, when I saw what the challenge was, I was like, we're just giving this to them. I guess they were like, well, the Brains won the last endurance challenge, so I'm like, yeah, well.
Sure.
But, so they get their stuff, they head on back to camp. Brains go away with nothing. So we get back to camp, and they're like carrying all this stuff, and they're very happy. They set out their pillows right on the sand. I'm like, all those clean pillows and blankets, now it's dirty. But
I mean, might as well just get it out of the way.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah.
It is. But they put them out, and then they find out that they also get other things in this crate.
Tea, coffee, biscuits.
And letters. From home. And I was like, I was like, oh, this is nice. Who's the producer's favorites? That's why I put it. I was like, because there's no way they're going to let us hear all the letters. So who's the producer's favorites? And we saw who the producer's favorites, because we saw a clip of Rich, Noonan, Kristen, because she went first, and then all of Paulie's letter was read.
Oh yeah.
We saw a little bit of Morgan's too. So those were only 5 people who we saw get to read or have anything to do with their letters. We didn't see anybody else's letter. We didn't hear any parts of theirs. But Paulie's was so heartfelt, and him and his dad. It was from his dad, and I'm like, I get it. I get why they wanted us to hear that whole letter. It was very sweet. It was a lot. It was a lot. I was like, okay, he done went through a lot in his life, and so we had to get the backstory on Paulie, and I thought it was nice. And somebody somewhere out there in the world needed to hear that letter. And so I hope it helped whoever needed to hear it to know that your parents could still love you and still take care of you and still be there for you no matter what you choose in life to do and not do and whatever. But it was very sweet.
Yeah, I like this moment. And was this our first confirmation that Paulie is gay? Because I always assumed it, but then...
Yes, I think it was the first time on the show that it's explicitly been stated that Paulie is gay.
I mean, I think we've known it. He's just never said it.
Yeah. I think I even called him like the gay Ben Schwartz in the first episode. But then afterwards I was like, wait, is he gay?
Wait, you know that? Did you just...
Did I just...
I'm sorry.
I will also say, is this the first time that Kristen has gotten a confessional this whole time? I can't remember exactly, but I feel like it's a yes.
I don't think it is, because I remember everybody making a big deal about how Zara hadn't had a confessional for the first 4 episodes. It took till episode 5. So I think people would have been making the same big deal for Kristen. So she must have gotten like a short one.
I think she got one after Nash admitted of throwing the challenge.
That's what it was.
And she got one after that one. So I think it was right after that she got one. But it hasn't been a lot. Like, she has not been in our faces a lot.
They're like, the matriarch of each tribe? Nah. We don't need to hear from them.
Who cares? But yeah, that was very sweet. It was a good moment. But like I said, I knew we weren't going to see everybody's, because that's still a lot of people. So we weren't going to get everybody's letter. But it was a nice moment. They got their comfort. Good on them. And they got their tea and biscuits and all kind of stuff. Great for that.
Now the interesting gameplay. Now swapping over to the gameplay that's occurring versus letters.
Yeah, because the brains have things to talk about. Because everybody again is like carving out um their new
kind of
groups.
path. Yeah.
Yeah, they're carving out their new alliances and their new groups, and they're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is who we're working with, and solidifying things. And so we did see AJ talked to Miles, and Miles was like, "This is who I want. I like this." And AJ was like, "I like them. I like." Look, I think AJ was fine as long as he was not in a group with Logan, because he does not want to work with Logan, and she does not want to work with him. So he was like, "Okay, Karen and Zara, I like them. I think that could work. Great." Um, they they are good. That four has said they are good. And then Miles is like, and I'm gonna go talk to Kaylin. Now I don't know about y'all, but I got a little nervous because I was like, we
Yes.
don't know where Kaylin stands. We don't know if Kaylin is going to take this information that Miles is giving him and go run and tell them, because they had already solidified, tried the thing with Max and Laura and Logan, and they were the four. They were going to do that. So I was like, I don't know if Kaylin is on board with this group or he's on board with that group. But Miles seemed very sure that Kaylin will be down with him.
I
It makes
mean,
it makes sense because we've seen a lot of conversations between Miles and Kaylin in the past. Kaylin's kind of thrown lifeline to Miles in the past. So I think it's really interesting. I think it was episode 2 that we got the whole like backstory from Kaylin, and we really learned like his game is just to socialize, just to be friends with everybody. And I think we're really starting to see that come to fruition.
we also get a confessional from Miles basically saying like, I don't know how strategic Kaylin actually is, but I want to approach him with this because I enjoy his company. And I mean, it's working. Kaylin obviously is playing a correct middle low key, like I am never going to be anyone's problem kind of game. And he's doing it well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we then see, so Kaylin and Miles talk, and Kayla's like, yeah, that sounds like a plan. That's good. That's cool. We can do that. I'm down. And so I think they just kind of like solidify that. And I'm like, okay. Is it the 5 or is it 4? I don't know yet. We're not sure yet. I'm still a little iffy because I don't know exactly where Kaylin lies, because he's going back and forth, because he had a conversation also with Max and with Logan, and he was like saying the same thing. Like, yeah. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, there is a pretty important thing that happens during this conversation with Miles and Kaylin, where they come up with a name. Specifically, Miles comes up with a name. He's like, I think we should go for Max.
Mm-hmm.
But little does he know. Well, I was like, he actually really is talking loudly.
Louder.
Why are you
Oh,
so loud?
he's
right
talking
next to you.
loudly, and yeah, someone overhears.
Someone hears, and somebody who cannot keep information to herself
It
ever.
was the most horrible person to hear that information.
It was Allie.
It shouldn't have been her.
It was Allie. Of course, it was Allie.
When she was sitting, I was like, please let this be an editing thing where they're just like showing her and she's not actually there. No,
she's there.
She's there, and she heard it, and she immediately right, Max, hello,
Max, where are you? I need to tell you.
I need to tell you something, because I just found out some information that's burning my ears like crazy. I need to tell you everything. And she runs, and she's like, so, and she says this with Karen standing right there. Like, Karen is right there. And she's like, it's you tonight. And Max is like, me? What do you mean, me? She's like, it's you tonight. It's you, because I heard your name and it's you. And he was like, who said that? And she's like, Miles said it. She's like, girl, you can't
Easily
now he's Weasel and he's a rat and he's
a jungle rat.
A
A
jungle.
jungle rat.
And
There are
um
there are some things to talk about with specifically calling
I
the
don't like
only Asian person
a rat
on the
and a
tribe,
weasel.
a weasel, and a jungle rat. But I will also put a note of this nickname was kind of okayed by Miles on the island, and he specifically said that within a tweet. So at least that part, there's no, I guess there's no explicit racial
Here's the thing.
negativities, but it doesn't matter.
Here's the thing. It is explicit racial against it. But Miles has okayed it. And if Miles is okayed it, everybody goes, well, he okayed it, so it's okay. That's not always great, because just because somebody okays something doesn't mean it's not racial or racist or a very rude comment to say about a group of people. Because there's a lot of people who is okay with people saying slurs around them and being like, oh, it's okay, because I know this person. They don't mean that like that. They mean well. And they okay it. But it's not always okay. It's not okay for everybody else. So I need us as a people to not do that to the Asian community, because it's always on Survivor or any game where we feel like we have to say the people of Asian are they're weasels and distrustful, and they're like, it happens on every version of Survivor that I've watched. It's like they're not, we can't really trust. Why? What do you mean? They haven't done it. Now in this situation, I can understand how Max was frustrated with Miles, because we're supposed to be in this bomb squad together, and now you're throwing my name out. So yes, you could be considered a rat, because I thought we was working together, but now you're going around, now you're saying my name. So in this situation, okay, sure, that might be what happened. I just don't think we need to call Asian people rats and weasels and saying they can't be trusted and distrustful in every situation, in every form of Survivor. Let's get off of that. Now you can say that wasn't a good thing to do. Like, okay, you snake, you being a snake, you out here saying my name when we supposed to be in the bomb squad together. Like, what is happening? But I don't think in this situation, Max was being purposefully malicious to Miles. And because Miles okayed it, Miles is fine with it. That's not speaking for everybody in the community.
True. Yeah, I will say I saw a lot of discourse on this on Twitter before I even watched the episode. So I already went into this knowing who was going to lose the challenge. I did not know who was getting voted out, but I knew that there was something between Max and Miles, because it just kept, like, every time I would get on Twitter, I'm like, no, I don't want to see this. But I just kept seeing some things. My expectations going into this episode were that it was going to be a lot worse than it was, and more explicit. And I will say, I think Australian Survivor is notorious. Other than Jericho in season 2, the Asian men that play Australian Survivor, they almost always get pinned for this sneaky narrative immediately. They could just exist, and it just happens. And it's happened to Miles.
Yeah, Kit did it.
It did. I will say, and you alluded to it, Lana, in this instance, he was doing rat-like behavior. He was betraying his alliance. So for people to come for Max in the way they are on Twitter, I don't think it's all of that. I do agree he could be more sensitive, and that's a learning experience. So I'm hoping that he sees this and sees how it comes across. And I could have used my words better. It doesn't matter if he approved it.
Right.
But he's always, every time he talks about taking care of the pest or the jungle rat, he says it with a smirk, like he's having fun. And you can tell, especially with the context we have for Miles, that it was something that they were probably joking about, and they got that approval. So I really do not think he meant any malicious harm. But of course, impact and intentions, they don't always align.
I don't. Like I said, it doesn't really matter what people say. I can say it's okay for you to say that about me because I know you, but that doesn't mean everybody in my community will agree with me and want you to say that about them. So I think, like you said, learning experience definitely should be. I hope Max listens and hears what people are saying and be like, okay, I understand that. That's a learning thing. I learned it. I won't do it again. It's fine. And you could come up with better words to call somebody sneaky.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be, if it's a reason. Like Kent, he ain't had no reason. None whatsoever to call Miles sneaky. Miles didn't do nothing but exist. And he was like, oh, he's sneaky. I don't trust him, blah, 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 blah. He's the problem. Max, on the other hand, had a reason to think that Miles was being sneaky and rat-like. So, if we wasn't mad about Kent doing it, I think y'all should chill out on Max. But we ain't like it here when Kent did it. So,
right.
But we move. We get to, well, and Max literally calls Miles out in front of a lot of people. And Max is like, oh, the jungle rat is sneaking around and I got to chop the head off the rat, da 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 da. And Miles is like, oh, you talking to me? Like, he was really like, you talking to me? Like, what? Say something, do something, boy, do something, jump. But it was, in that moment, it was all good nature and I laughed and it was funny and they had a good time about it. But I knew Max was a little serious about it too. Max was like, I'm gonna keep this in the back of my mind. I'm not gonna forget that you did say my name. Even if you come back and say you didn't mean it, you said it. So you said it once. I can't trust you not to say it again. So, but we do go on to the immunity challenge. And the immunity challenge is just a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts.
A lot of stuff. Yep.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe this.
It was so weird and random. They start in the water.
Yeah, you have to swim to the grid,
grab the grid,
unflip the grid, bring the grid back,
go
connect it to this frame,
hang it up,
hang
it in the frame,
get it on the frame. Then you have to run and
go to your platform, and then one at a time, go up a slide, pull on this little net rope thing, grab some puzzle pieces,
and slide back
down. Open the bags once everybody has them, and then decipher a word code, like unscramble the letters to come up
5 words, a phrase with 5 words in it.
A lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff happening.
A lot of things, but
it was crazy because the Brain started out pretty strong. They were out there first with the grid and they got out the water first. Brawn was not too far behind them anyway. Right. But the Brawn caught up by clipping that thing so quick. They was just like, boom, done. Yep. The Brains was like, what? I'm like, y'all just slam it in there. Jesus. They finally get up there. By the time they get up there, the Brawn are already going up the slide, like almost a person ahead of them, going up the slide. The girls start, all the girls going up. I was so freaking impressed with Jesse going up this goddamn slide. That man ran, slid head first, and then turned on his back as he was sliding up the thing. It was like Spider-Man.
Right.
It was freaking Spider-Man.
We'll get a reference to that later on. An incorrect reference.
He was just like, on back the thing. He literally lapped Max. Lapped him. I was like, this is nuts. It was wild. And then Kaylin did the same thing. I was like, look at him go. I like him. But by that time, there was already a bag behind. So, but the tricky part got to when they got to the puzzle part of it all, trying to decipher what this crew was. And it was Miles and Logan against Noonan and Kate.
I want to say it was Noonan and Morgan.
No, Morgan wasn't part of that.
Wait.
It was Noonan and Kate.
It was Morgan and Noonan versus Miles and Logan.
It was Morgan? What? I thought that was Kate. Excuse me, Morgan. Just thought it was Kate for some reason. Anyway, I don't know why I was like, Kate. Morgan and Noonan. So they doing it and they figuring it out. were trying to figure it out, and it was
They kind of just bleed words back and forth to each other almost, where Brains figures out tribe and then your first. And then Brawn figures out tribe and your, and then Brain figures out remain, and then Brawn figures out intact, but
Brain figures out intact because it was Logan who figures out intact first.
Yeah,
but
no, Brawn figured out remain.
Yeah.
The problem, there is a single problem that the Brain tribe had. Well, that and they were so stuck on, immunity is one of the words.
Immune.
So they could not commit to your being the first thing. So they took that you down, and that single-handedly cost them the challenge, because once they do get everything else figured out and they see the other tribes starting to put remain, and then they're like, oh, intact. And they start doing the intact. They get the intact first while the other tribes trying to catch up. And then it's like, oh, we don't have the your put together. So then they were hustling to put that your.
Well, they had the your, and they got the tribe up there. What it had was the O in your had fallen back. And the I in will had fallen back.
Oh, I missed that part.
They had all that together. It was the intact, because Logan was like, intact. And I'm like, girl, shush. Like, don't scream it. And so they running up to do the intact, but they also had to fix the your and the will. Mm-hmm. So if they would have never said it out loud, like, it's intact, and then they just go fix the O and the I, and then save intact for last, because Noonan and Morgan did not have it. They did not have it until they screamed out, intact, intact. And they're like, oh, it's intact. I was like, oh, no.
It's intact, presented without any context.
But the Brawn get it first.
Did you all talk about the nutsack last episode?
We didn't, but
I meant to so bad, because I was like, my whole thing before the recording, I was like, I have got to do out of context JLP this time, because we had nut sacks and he carried the nuts and he threw the nuts, and it was a lot of nut talk.
There was a lot for a challenge that was just tossing.
They
that doesn't make it sound any better. I'm going to be honest.
And they, throw the nuts. There was a lot of nut talk in there. But yeah, the Brawn ends up winning this challenge because the intact was yelled out. But you would think that would be the end of it all in the challenge. Like, okay, the Brawn win, they're celebrating, and then they're going to leave. But no. But because even during the challenge, Rich is sitting on the side, just bomb squad. I'm like, are you trying? What is your goal?
Did he think they forgot?
Right. Did he?
Oh yeah. Bomb squad.
Oh yeah.
Shoot, yeah, we forgot we were doing that.
Forgot.
Yeah, that was weird.
And then the man, not only does he just like screams out bomb squad throughout the whole challenge, and he's just like, I got an advantage. I'm going to give it to you. Screaming this at Max. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now, sir? How do you?
He understood it the first time. You could stop it like attempt 10.
And then after the challenge is over and the Brawn has won, he's getting up and he goes right over the back. Here, take this advantage that I'm giving you and save Laura and Logan. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, bomb squad.
I'm actually kind of confused. Is that how the advantage was even supposed to work? Because I had the impression he was picking the two people to go home no matter who lost.
That's what I thought it was.
I assume that makes more sense. But I think in that moment, it almost like he just kind of like willed it to them, and they were like, you know what? This is going to be more entertaining.
Right.
So we're just going to give it to Max and say that was our intent.
Yeah, I don't think that, because when he read the clue, it said you will pick
Yeah,
2 people to lead tribal no matter who wins the
exactly.
challenge. So I think Rich was like, yeah, that's what it said, but I'm going to do this my way. And I'm just going to give it to Max and you do with it, but do what I tell you to do. And I'm just like,
No,
no.
But they also
Maybe-
couldn't just like take that back because Rich made it so
So
obvious
obvious.
on a transfer that they would have to explain exactly what went down to go back, and at that point it's already an issue.
Uh-huh.
So
maybe he
They
thought
kinda
he
just
did
went
make the
with it.
pick. He's like, oh, it's Laura and Logan, and gave it to Max.
Right. Like,
Like, oh, I made the decision.
it's just so, it was so wild and random to me. I was like, this man has no clue. He does not have a single clue, or he doesn't
Right.
care. But that was what happened. And everybody on the tribe was like, what is he
Everybody
talking about?
knows.
And the girls were like, Bomb Squad, huh? Interesting that we hear this name again, second time around, right after AJ talked about the Bomb Squad. Okay. But we get back to camp, and Max is like, everybody gather around. I have something to share with you, because Rich has made it very obvious that something is going down and I need to share it with everyone. So he pulls out the scroll and he reads the advantage, and everybody's like, oh. And he's like, and I'm going to send back myself and AJ. And everybody's like, oh.
Oh.
And
I
Logan,
believed him at first.
me too. I'm like,
I
oh.
believed
Like,
him at first as well. I was like,
why AJ though? Huh.
peculiar. And then he was like, so I'm planning to take out Miles. So I'm saving myself and AJ, and y'all can deal with this problem.
It's a lot of trust.
Right.
That's a
giving out.
lot of trust for someone who's literally just saying, I am not dealing with the situation. So
it kind of blew my mind. I was like, what is happening right now? But he did it, and then he was like, and that's what's gonna happen. So meeting adjourned.
Surely he'll make a more logical decision in the moment.
Right. But
Surely.
then Logan is pissed. She's like, we are supposed to be in an alliance. And he didn't even consult with any of us about what he's going to do. And that's not cool. So she's telling Kaylin, that's not cool. Like, I don't like this at all. This isn't, that ain't what's up. How dare he? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So him and Logan and Laura and Max are now sitting in the shelter. And Max comes in, he's like, y'all know that's not what I'm doing, right? And they're like, oh God, thank God. Oh, jeez. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Because he was like, could we get the 4 together? And Logan was like, oh, now you want to talk? Now you want to consult with us? He was like, that wasn't my plan. I just wanted to say that for them. We can figure out what we want to do. And so he's like, that's not what I'm doing. I'm thinking of sending. He's like, we got to figure out who we want to send. He's like, because I want to get out Allie. And I was like, oh, great. Because the other side wants to get out Allie. So
yep, we missed that part.
We're all in agreement because the 4 of them, the other ones, Zara and Corinne and Miles and AJ, all want to get out Allie as well. They have talked and they said Allie. So it's like, okay, cool. So then they talk and they say Allie. I'm like, okay, easy vote. Allie. No matter who you send home, who you send back to camp, everybody's voting for Allie, right? Case closed. We're done, right?
Honestly, though, it would have been so hilarious if everybody went to Tribal thinking they're blindsiding the other alliance by getting rid of Allie. And Allie the whole time is like, I'm the swing vote. I am the swing vote. And she's just hearing the decoy plans from both groups. And then literally everybody gets blindsided at Tribal Council when Allie's voted out 8-1. That would have been the best Tribal Council ever.
So good. That would have been so good. But of course, we can never have nice things because Laura is like, I don't really want to get rid of Allie. And Logan is like, neither do I. I would rather get rid of Zara. So we got to convince Max to get rid of Zara.
Which he'd already said he was going to send Zara and Karen back to camp.
Right. And so now Max comes over and they're like, look, we don't really want to get rid of Allie.
Yeah.
And Max is like, oh, okay, then let's get rid of Zara.
Okay, let's get rid of Zara. Yeah.
And they were like,
I just said that 30 seconds ago.
it's like, we're all on the same page here. Great. We'll get rid of Zara. Zara's the one. She goes, it is what it is. Now, on the other side, they're still like, Allie's going. We're doing that. Allie's gone. And it was like, oh, okay, cool.
They also just kind of subtly name themselves the graduates because they don't want to deal with any more of this schoolyard drama that's been going on with boys versus girls and all that. And they also just subtly dragging Kaylin and are like, hey, so just to fully confirm, the four of us are already good with this. If you're good with it, we're just going to vote Allie, and that's going to be the night.
I like that they were like, I think we have more degrees than them anyway, so it works.
Like, of course it works. I mean, that was Miles' task that presented him earlier in that day, is to come up with a name. And actually, I kind of like the name. I was like, that's actually kind of a good name. It kind of eats for him. Like, and his reasoning behind it, I was like, oh, that definitely eats down. Like, he ate one down with that one. I'll let that sink in. He was just like, we're graduates because we're above the schoolyard stuff, and this tribal is going to be our graduation. And I was like, word. Good for you. Good for you. And so all this scrambling that was going on and was happening, it was like, okay, this is who we're going to send out. We're going to send Karen, and first it was Zara. Now it's not Zara anymore because she has to be there so she can get the vote. And it's going to be AJ and Karen. But then they were like, but not AJ. What about Miles? He's like, okay, maybe Miles and Karen. So it was just switching.
Yeah.
He didn't know who he was going to send out.
He's trying to decide. He says, Max thinks, well, he said that, like Spider-Man said, with great power comes great responsibility. I'm like, Spider-Man didn't say that. Uncle Ben said that.
Yeah, that was the major purpose of that.
Right.
But, you know, he's already not deciding between like four names on who he's going to send back. So who knows what he's going to do at this point? Like,
there's lots of logical options and combinations that you could send back. Yeah, just send back any two of the other alliance, obviously.
Obviously.
That's what he's going to do.
Very simple choice, because then you just have a 4-3 majority, and that's the end of it.
That's the end of it. That's what you're going to do. So we get to tribal council, just knowing that the options are going to be simple. He's going to send back 2 people from the other alliance, and he's going to keep his alliance intact. Bam, boom, bam. It's done. And they're going to vote out Zara. That's what's going to happen. So we get to tribal, and JLP is asking everybody what, how they feeling about everything.
You still feel Rich's presence here?
Right. And they were like, we
do somehow.
We kind of do, because Rich would not shut up on the sidelines at the challenge today. And Rich decided to invoke himself into this tribal by giving out an advantage to Max. And now Max has all the power, and Max is like, I have all this power. And so JF is like, what power are we talking about? Like, he didn't know. They're like, you mean the scroll? He's like, yes, JF, the scroll. We know the scroll. Would you like it? And he's like, yes, I will take the scroll. So Max gives him the scroll, and he reads out the rules of what was going to happen. He's like, so before we let you make this decision, how does everybody feel about Max having this power? Anybody feel a little bit nervous? Anything? And Miles is like, a little bit nervous here, because
Max is at war.
He's at war. And he let everybody know that the war is with me. And so I'm a little nervous about it. And Max goes on this tangent, and he's just like, I have this power, and when you come for me, I will, you won't get out alive, or something like that. And Miles is like, the jungle rat always lives, and Max is like, not this time. I'm just like,
And we also see Allie talking to Logan. She's like, "Who are we voting for?" And I'm like, "Did nobody tell this girl a plan? Nobody on either side."
We did get like one moment, exactly one, of Allie going to Max and is like, "Who is the vote? Like, just please tell me." And Max just says Zara, and that is the end of that conversation. Allie literally does not have any agency in the strategy because
Logan
she's
doesn't even
pissed
answer
off
her.
both sides.
Logan just kind of looks ahead.
It's like, I mean, I was just like, and I wonder why she did that, because at that point, Zara was the vote. Why couldn't you look over and say Zara? Like, you didn't say anything. You just looked ahead like, I'm not telling you because it's you. And I'm like, no, you didn't know it was her. What are you talking about? But so that was decision time. And Max has to make his decision which two people he's going to send back to camp. And he says Laura and Karen. And I was like, what? What?
Why are you blindsiding Laura and everybody else on your new alliance?
I mean,
and taking away agency.
Karen this whole time had been mentioned. My honest thought is that Max said the wrong name and could not take it back, because that is the only logical answer to what happened. Because he still sent Karen, and there was a significant pause between Laura and Karen. Like, I genuinely cannot understand this move, especially because, actually, the vote is no longer Zara. It's actually Miles again. For some reason.
But see, I think he meant what he said. I think he meant to say Laura and Karen, because Karen had been the name that he threw out most of the day. Like, she was always in the conversation to go. I think he just wasn't thinking. I don't think he thought about the numbers, and I don't think he thought about how this would play out by just going rogue. And everybody has been saying this the entire time on this episode. Max is an entertainer. Max likes to entertain. And I think he got so wrapped up into having this power and wanting to make a big move that he didn't even think through the move he was trying to make. So I think he did it, but he thought he just miscalculated what that meant by sending Laura back to camp and not keeping her. Like, if the vote is Miles like he wanted, he should have just sent back Karen and Zara. Like, send them both back, and then just tell the folks it's Miles. Like, you really have no choice but to do that.
Yeah, but I think, like, I'm trying to, like, put myself in his shoes and come up with anything rational. So the only thing I can think is, like, he knows his alliance. He knows the woman's alliance. So if there's 5 women, as long as you're sending home 2, you're keeping the women alliance from banding together, and sending home Laura takes off, like, any suspicion that you might have some sort of alliance with her. So I think he's thinking there's the woman's alliance that's taken care of. There's the men alliance. We still got the numbers. And then we have Miles on his own, who was telling Kaylin that he wanted to vote me out. But what agency does Miles have? So I don't think he was really thinking about, maybe the people that I'm not directly working with decided they're going to work together. So I think that might be his error. And he got too cute with it, by sending home Laura and maybe trying to hide that he's working with her. So that's the only thing that I can come up with to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, I don't know. It just he did it, and it just went completely wrong, because the other side is now only lost Karen, but they still have their plan. And the other side is now confused because Max is like, it's Miles. Like, he told people it's Miles, and Allie was like, oh, he said Miles. And so now Logan is upset. She pissed off because she has no idea what is happening. And she has to figure out, do I go still? Is it still Zara? Now, do I write her name down? That makes no sense. If he's going to write Miles' name down and I write, that doesn't make any sense. So she is like, well, I guess I got to revert back to the old plan of what we said before. It was just confusing. But in the end, it was a mess. But in the end, it was Allie.
Yeah. So it hinged on one person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it makes sense if Max has Logan on his side, and Allie is the other vote. I don't know if he knew that.
Yeah.
Then it makes sense that those three were together, and then he trusts Kaylin.
Right.
So it really came down to Kaylin being the swing vote, and it was very smart of AJ and Miles to get ahead of it and really rope him in and secure that vote.
I mean, and Kaylin said, I have to do this for my alliance. So I was like, he has just picked his side, and it is what it is at that point.
But I have a theory. I actually think Kaylin made this move specifically because he's in two different alliances now. And those two different alliances involve everybody on the tribe except Allie. So this was the only way that he could take out a number without completely destroying any of the alliances he just built. So he could still
the other swing.
Yeah, he could still toe the line with Max and Logan and Laura.
Right.
If he would like to. I mean, I don't know what you can do with a 4-4 split, but it's an option. But
it is.
Hey, it might not even matter. It might not matter
because it might not matter because we see the previews for next week. And the first thing we say is drop your buffs because things are about to get shaken up. Yeah. So we don't even know if these people are going to be in the same tribe or how this tribe swap situation is going to weed itself out. But man, I hate it for whoever gets swap screwed in this.
True.
Yeah. Because I played games and got swap screwed. It's not fun. It's not fun to get swap screwed because you can sit there like, I can't even play no more. It's just sit and wait till they pick me out, and that's not fun.
True. I think Kaylin made the perfect choice now, knowing that we're switching, because no matter what combination he ends up with people from his brain tribe,
they go like him still. They go want to work with him.
Yeah,
he got them. Kaylin is, like I said, Kaylin is playing this game the correct way.
I think he might win.
I am here for it.
He's in a good spot. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I feel like before they go after Kaylin, there's always somebody before him that they will go after. And I think Kaylin will start showing himself once they get into individual immunities. He gonna start winning something to keep himself safe when he feels like his back is against the wall. He can win himself out of that situation. But like you said, he's in such a good spot that I think people will always want to work with him.
Yep.
So
I will also note there is one interesting thing that happens at the very end of the episode, and it's Allie's vote out confessional because it's just wrong. She's like, oh, the guys got to me. I can't believe it was that simple.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know. There really is something weird going on because we have the idea of sending two women out and the person being eliminated thinking it was all the men turning on her.
But it's because she's the person that was not in any loops. She's just been out of the loop.
Out of all the loops.
Yeah, that's true.
So. And because they all figured out and realized she talked too much.
Right.
She talked way too much. I wouldn't put her in. I wouldn't tell her I got a splinter because everybody go know I got a splinter. Like, I'm not telling that girl nothing. Like we said yesterday, Jack, she is as useless as a bucket with a hole in the bottom.
With no bottom.
No bottom.
With no bottom.
Whoosh. Yep. It's everything.
I heard that.
Yeah, she is whoosh, baby. She is a leaky faucet. And I wouldn't tell her nothing. But we do have a quick draft update. Sorry, Jack, we have to do it.
No, but I mean, it's very fair. I'll take a second hit if I cast essentially two ticking time bombs that were bound to go off. Like, such it is.
I needed somebody else to be with me because I didn't like how unfairly and unjustly I was taken out and then taken out again. Like the second one was very fair and just, but the first one, no. And I will die on that hill. No, Zen, my Zen pasta. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zen.
But yeah, Jack and me are down 2. And Logan and Brooke are still holding strong to just being down 1.
And I'm at 0.
Yeah, David doesn't count. David doesn't matter in this situation.
I'm going to take over Brooke's team.
Because Brooke is never here. So we're going to change your name to Brooke. Change Brooke's name to David.
Oh my God.
Because Brooke's never here. And if Brooke is not here by the end of the season and have never appeared on this show, it's David's team.
Yep.
I'm putting that out there right now. So, and look, you got a possible winners on that team as well.
Yeah,
Pauly
I mean, you got 2 good winners. I mean, Pauly and then Miles, kind of.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean AJ, if he gets entrenched with a new tribe,
don't sleep on Kristen, y'all.
I ain't sleeping on Kristen. You know, Mama Bears always pull it out somehow. Somebody got to get to the end of it.
Oh my God,
finalists. But anyway, that is that, y'all. We have said all that we can say. We're gonna be back next week to talk all about episode 7, 8, and 9. It's swap time, and so we're excited to see what happens in the swap and what happens with these new tribes. But y'all know what to do. Hit the subscribe button on this channel. We appreciate you for joining us, and thank you for watching. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think. Are we on point? Are we way off? Let us know in the comments what you think. We really do love reading the comments. So tell us what you are thinking. Who are you rocking with? Let us know. Follow us on this channel. Follow us on all of our other channels. At the Cup Pod, at the Cup ESC, and at the Cup Ringside. All those links will be in the description below. You can follow us on our audio podcast links. You can check us out on the go, and join our Patreon because fun things happen there. You can follow us on all of our socials at the Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And you can follow Jack, David, and myself on those platforms as well. Instagram's right there. I was right there. Davis is down there. Jack is the same on Instagram as well. So follow us over there. Do all the things. We appreciate you. Get your cup merch. Get your merch. I almost forgot. Get your merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. And we're going to get out of here. So cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers.